Hey CW Apes, Mr. Kennedy here, and today I'm going to walk you through a little of the dimensional analysis that goes with this activity that is titled Eating at a Lower Trophic Level. Okay, so to make a long story short, hopefully you're getting fairly comfortable with dimensional analysis by now. I want to just sort of help you out, point you in a direction on a few of these things, and make sure that if you are struggling or you do have questions, you at least know how to set this stuff up. I'm not going to do every problem for you. I'm just going to set up a couple along the way, and then I'm going to turn you loose to work through this on your own. First thing I want to remind you to do as you get this is to make sure you read the background information here. The background information, as tedious as it sounds, is supposed to help you establish a food chain like what you see right here. Okay, who eats whom? No. The flow of matter and energy through the ecosystem. Yes. And then right next to that, we've got this really important bracketed area. This area provides us with some conversion factors for our dimensional analysis. So you're going to want to pay close attention to that as we go. Start the activity by doing your pre-lab questions, and then we're going to dive in to do some calculations. Okay. So the first question down here at the bottom says calculate the number of grasshoppers one guinea hen eats per year. So remember, when you're doing dimensional analysis, you want to make sure that you always know what you're starting with and where you're going to go. So we're starting with one guinea hen, right? And we want to know how many grasshoppers it eats in a year. So that means that the answer that we're going to get down here is going to be an answer in grasshoppers per year, okay? That's what our answer is going to be in. What are we starting with? We're starting with one guinea hen, and we have to figure out how many grasshoppers per year it eats. So I'm going to go through my parenthetical statements up here, or conversion factors more properly described, and I'm going to look for something that maybe connects my guinea hen to grasshoppers. This one looks pretty good. One guinea hen eats 25 grasshoppers per day. So I'm going to use that to set up this problem, all right? So when I get into this, I'll just turn this over here, okay? I'm going to start with one hen, because that's what it says I have in the question. I have one hen, and the parenthetical statement says that one hen eats 25 grasshoppers per day. Okay, so it's very important that I set this up correctly, and you need to remember that when you're doing dimensional analysis, what you want to get rid of goes on the bottom, and what you want to keep goes on the top. Remember, my answer is supposed to be in grasshoppers per year, so I'm going to put grasshoppers, okay, up here, grasshoppers, and I'm told that one hen can eat 25 grasshoppers, so 25 grasshoppers per day. So one hen eats 25 grasshoppers per day. When you use per means that like unit goes on the bottom. So day goes down here. Grasshoppers per day. And who's eating it? One hen is. So I put my hen here because I want that to cancel over there. So I've got 25 grasshoppers per hen per day. That's how you read that conversion factor. So that cancels there. Now, if I just did the math as it sits right now, I would end up with an answer in grasshoppers per day. Okay, that's close to what I want, but not exactly. So this next step in conversion must convert days into years. Okay, now you don't have a conversion factor or parenthetical statement for that's given to you in this lab, because we kind of figure everybody knows how many days are in a year. But I do want to make sure you remember what goes on top, right, is in this case going to cancel out days, and we're going to put years underneath because we need it in grasshoppers per year, not grasshoppers times year. Okay, so we're going to cancel day this way, and when we do our number crunching, you can see I'm going to get an answer that is grasshoppers over years, which is red, grasshoppers per year. That's how you do it. I'm going to let you figure out what that value is. Let's skip down the page a little bit and maybe pick one that's, I don't know, a little bit more challenging. Okay, so if you follow how to do this, you should have no problem doing the second one or the third one. Let's go all the way to the bottom and we'll just do like the very last problem. Okay, the very last problem here is this guy. The farmer needs 3,000 calories per day. If people ate the same amount of soybeans that were needed to feed all the grasshoppers from question 4 above, how many people would the soybean crop feed? Okay, so the answer that I'm going to get is like how many people would the soybean crop feed? I need an answer in terms of farmers or people, okay? And I'm starting off with a volume of soybeans that I solved for from number 4. If people ate the same amount of soybeans that were needed to feed all the grasshoppers from number 4, like how many people would that crop feed? So let's set this up, okay? If we go through kind of like step by step, I have a farmer that needs 3,000 calories per day. So I'm going to start off with one farmer, and how many calories do they need per day? One farmer needs 3,000 calories, okay? Now I put 3,000 calories down here, so that means I got to put day up there because it's 3,000 calories per day, not calorie days, okay? So one farmer gets 3,000 calories per day. That's how that's read, okay? So ultimately, I got to figure out like how much they're going to need for the whole year, right? Because then I can use what I figured out from number 4 to connect to my soybean crop. So if one farmer needs 3,000 calories per day, well, how many calories do they need for the year, right? That's the next step in the conversion or dimensional analysis we need to deal with. So there's 365 days in 1 year, so my days will cancel out. So if I solved this problem right now, I'd end up with how many calories a farmer needed per year. That's where I'd be at, okay? Well, if we go back to the question, which is over here, if people ate the same amount of soybeans that were needed to feed all the grasshoppers, how many people would the soybean crop feed? So I don't have just like unlimited food to pick from here. I have to use the volume of food that fed the grasshoppers from number 4 so I can figure out how many farmers could live off of that, okay? So the volume of food that I solved from number 4, the answer is going to go in here, okay? And I'm going to leave it like that because I don't want to give you the answer to number 4. I want you to solve for number 4, okay? But what I will say is whatever you do here, okay, you need to take care of your units, all right? So in number 4, you ended up with an answer that was in kilograms of soy per year, okay? So you want to make sure that you're still headed towards a people number or a farmer number. So you got to keep canceling this other stuff out over here. So years have to cancel out. So now if I did my math, I'd end up with an answer that is farmers in terms of, calories per kilogram of soy, okay? So now I got to get rid of this so I can get down to a point where I'm just looking at farmers. How do I do that? Well, there is a conversion factor here, right? That maybe I can tap into. Dry soybeans have 3.3 calories, right, per gram of energy, right? So maybe I can tap into that and use that as my next step. Okay, so if I do that, I'm going to come down here, okay, and I go 3.3 calories, right, per 1 gram of soy. Well, my calories will cancel, but now I've got a problem. I've got kilograms and grams, like so, okay? So the next thing I got to do is deal with that. So how many grams are in a kilogram? You should have 1,000 grams of soy in 1 kilogram of soy, okay? So this cancels there, and this is going to cancel here, okay? And if we do our math going straight across, assuming you solved number 4, you should end up with an answer that only has farmers in it, okay? So that's a lot of steps, all right? And you need to show each of those steps along the way to make sure that I know that you know the long math that goes into this dimensional analysis. Now, you can use a calculator after that, to punch your numbers in and solve. That's not a problem, but you definitely have to show all of these steps in order to get full credit from me and in order to get full credit from the College Board. So that's how you set up the easy one. That's how you set up the hard one. And hopefully this all makes sense for you in terms of dimensional analysis. I'm Mr. Kennedy, and I will see you next time.